What's the temperature of Knicks fans right now? Are they concerned? Yeah. Is there belief in this team that they can make a run all the way to the finals and actually win it?
No, there's full set panic in the fan base right now. Full set panic. They, first off, they want to send the coach. They want to pack the coach's bags. They think this is squarely on Thibs. They feel like he's lost the locker room. It's fair to question, for sure. Do I see the Knicks making a knee-jerk firing of the coach right now before the playoffs? No, I don't see that. But this is where the fan base is. When they see that, they are not only not beating Cleveland and Boston and OKC, they're getting completely washed in these early in these games. By the first half, these games are done. Even though they made a valiant effort and Brunson was Brunson, he was great, and they cut the lead down to 4, you still know that Boston's going to come back with a wave, and that's what they did. They sat Brunson with 7-point deficit in the fourth, and before you know it, it's back up to 14, just like that. So I think the fan base is definitely demoralized. There's still a lot of season left to be played, but it's clear that this team is just not ready for the big show.
If by, let's just say, win a first-round series regardless of opponent, second-round series against Boston or Cleveland, depending on the seeding, probably Boston in the second round, if at that point Knicks fans are feeling confident, what changed between now and that point?
They have to get the defense together. It's the defense and also finding the right combinations offensively that these teams cannot exploit or have a more difficult time of exploiting. Right now, you're seeing a lot of lineups. One of the issues in the Boston game is one of the issues that they continue to have when they play Josh Hart in those starting lineups is he's the guy that when opposing defenses want to take something away, they say, all right, we're going to shadow Towns, we'll shadow Brunson and Josh Hart. We're going to let you decide when you want to take your threes, because that's been part of the issue. His confidence in taking those threes, it wanes. Sometimes he'll step into it and knock it down. In the playoffs last year, he was at 4.5 threes a game on 37%. He was good. On a night like yesterday, when they're daring you to shoot, you have to go and step into it and make them pay. You got to let it fly. And then it compounds the issue. Thibs will compound the issue by playing Hart and Precious Achiuwa in the lineup. So now you're not creating offense. You're not creating offense from your defense being disruptive. You're not disruptive. You're soft on the defensive end. Then they get you in the half court and you're playing basically 3-on-5. It's a very difficult situation there. So yes, they need to get their defense together, but they have to find more offense in the half court where they can create the advantage and not let the defense dictate what's going on.
It's worrisome when the Knicks defense is garbage and there's also concerns about offense with the lineups.
Yeah, it's like I said, when they're shooting well, it looks great. When Hart's getting out in transition, it looks great. When OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges are out there disrupting passing lanes, getting steals, and you can get easy buckets, it looks good. But when you lock them down in the half court, their lack of ball handlers and their lack of shot creators gets exposed.
And that's the big difference compared to Boston. Like you juxtapose it against Boston. It's like, yes, they have Tatum and Brown, but they also have Drew Holiday. They also have Derek White. They also have Kristaps Porzingis, one of the best, most efficient post players in basketball. Like even Al Horford at 50 years old, he can handle the ball on the perimeter and run a dribble handoff. They have Peyton Pritchard, who's one of the most efficient pick and roll ball handlers this entire season. They have attack points from literally everybody on the floor at all times, regardless of the configuration. That's why Boston's on another level. Cleveland has a lot of attack points as well. You have Mitchell and Garland as your engines, but DeAndre Hunter can handle a bit. Evan Mobley has developed. Even Jared Allen, throw him the ball on the short roll, he can dribble and finish, dribble and kick it out on a short roll opportunity. Mitchell Robinson, more of like a catch and finish guy, right? Like there's just not many attack points with the Knicks. And that's where you look at Mikal Bridges and it's like, damn, like you hope that he could have been closer to what you thought he would be, giving up as many picks as you did. I know he can shoot off the dribble, but it feels like Mikal Bridges, his role in this offense is not as amplified as perhaps I thought it would be as a secondary creator next to Brunson. And I'm a little bit surprised that Thibs hasn't put Bridges more on ball, more in those creation situations when we saw he can do that in Brooklyn. Considering the spot up shooting, it's still been way up and down throughout the year. So I'm a little bit surprised there, but that's Thibs. Like Thibs, he plays his guys who he trusts for 40 minutes a game. He runs Brunson into the ground because Brunson's dominant. Why would you not? He's one of the 10 to 15 best players in basketball right now this season. So I get it, but at the same time, it's like, damn, I wish they could get even more out of Bridges to have more variety in their half-court offense.
It's been disappointing. You saw it in the Christmas Day game when he went off against the Spurs, when he has the ball in his hands and good things happen. And so it falls on Thibs to create more opportunities for him, to create optimal rotations and lineups that can feature Mikal Bridges. But also, when he's playing, and this is the thing, when you're in New York, this is a different beast. This isn't Brooklyn. This isn't Phoenix. When you're attacking the basket and you're fading away from contact all the time and not hitting, the Knicks fans are going to take you to task, man. The guy does not get to the free throw line. He doesn't get rebounds. That's not New York brand of ball. You have that, and I said this on my postgame show after the Boston game. Even those guys weren't the best finishers. Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, they were going to the cup. That was one thing about those guys, especially RJ Barrett. That was his bread and butter because his jumper wasn't fluid. He's going to the basket. He's drawing contact. He's getting to the free throw line. Mikal Bridges, every time he breaks out on a defender and he's driving into the paint, he's going backwards.
Every time.
We're grit and grind here in New York, man. You can't do that, especially if you're not getting the intangibles either. So it's been a rough go, and it's been a rough sell in terms of this trade package to the fan base. A lot of these guys are sour on the Mikal Bridges trade.
Understandably so. And I think for the Knicks, the minutes aspect with Thibs, I know, the other night, Deuce McBride plays almost 30 minutes. It wasn't a great game for him offensively against Boston. But we talk about like the attack points for the Knicks. They have Payne, that he plays 10 minutes against Boston. They have Deuce, who plays inconsistent minutes. They do have some other guards. It's just those guys are also small. So I think Thibs, has his flaws as a coach, but at the same time, as great as this front office has been in building this thing out, the Bridges deal does look like it may have been a mistake. The other attackers that they have next to Brunson and Cat as the primary source of your offense, they just don't have a lot of those guys. So I think it's shared blame for the Knicks, and then the players themselves. Like, it's the Knicks gave up a ton for Bridges, but nobody could have seen like his shot entering the season the way it looked. Nobody could have seen Bridges with a broken jumper. Like, I just don't think anybody could have predicted him having to fix that and then still be a worse shooter than he has been in any other year in his career. So like there's shared blame across the roster, and that's where it's like you look at them, I feel like I don't view them as a contender. I don't, unless Mitchell Robinson changes everything. And that's what I'm going to be watching for the remainder of this year, man. Are you holding on any hope, CP, for a Knicks title?
Always, man. Always. I've been doing it for 40 years, man. I'm 40. I've been doing it for 40 years. So I'm always holding out that hope. But it's, as you said, Leon Rose, they allowed Thibs to lean in on his trust issues by not giving him an adequate bench. We know what campaign is. We know what Landry Shamet is. Hey, listen, he had them out there in the fourth quarter in that game down by 7 with Brunson on the bench, and fans are like, man, why are they resting Brunson? Well, the lead ballooned back up to 14. And so Deuce McBride, I want to see him playing more. He went 1 for 7 in that game. Precious Achiuwa, non-factor. So, there's only so much that these guys can do. But then you see the wear and tear on these guys. Karl Anthony-Towns, knee, had no business going back into that game or even volunteering to go back into that game.
Dude, what the heck was that?
That was a catastrophe waiting to happen.
Why was he back out there?
I think he's trying to, disprove that whole soft thing. I think he was trying to prove something, but it was bad on him and Thibs. Josh Hart dealing with a chronic knee injury. OG Anunoby does not look good with his return from the foot injury and does not have confidence. They've got to look to sign maybe a TJ Warren, a Chuma Okeke in the buyout market and play those guys.
They're not fixing anything, though, unfortunately.
They're not fixing anything, Kale, but like...
Eat minutes.
Either you got to get it, like call it innings eater on the baseball terms. They need minutes eaters right now because these guys are not going to get to April, especially with this bench being, lackluster, man. The bench is what they are.
And you're saying not get to April. They didn't get to May last year.
They didn't get to May last year.
They fell apart. They get injured, and it all falls apart. It feels like we're heading towards that again. CP, I hope things change. I hope Mitchell Robinson changes everything. I hope he makes the Knicks feel complete because I want to see the two bigs. So we'll see what happens once he comes back. Thank you for joining me today, man.
Hey, anytime, man. Always appreciate the time, KO.